right, at the start to a new week, today the 23rd day in the 6th month of the year 2025. Welcome to Scoreboard in 15, right on 32 FM 94.9. What an exciting weekend we had today in the world of sports. We talk about football stories, basketball stories, tennis stories, and then the emerging stories from the scene of Nigerian athletics. 𝐵𝐒𝐿 𝐵𝐿𝐼 is her name, where of course there are reports that she has switched her allegiance from representing Nigeria to Turkey. Well, remember that at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, where we talk about athletic stars, 𝐵𝐒𝐿 𝐵𝐿𝐼 was one of those stars who definitely were deprived the right of participating in the 100 meters race. So definitely we will still get more updates from that front when we talk about 𝐵𝐒𝐿 𝐵𝐼 on the show this lovely morning, or when we come in the afternoon. That's on Scoreboard Reloaded by 3:30. But then we'll talk about football. It is still the Club World Cup where games went down yesterday, and also from the games that went down over the course of the weekend. Well, for Manchester City, well, you tell that they actually scored 6 goals yesterday. And in the games that went down just in the early hours of today, well, you tell that it was a victory for Manchester City. While late last night, RB Salzburg and INT'L, they shared the spoils 0-0 between themselves. And then Real Madrid, well, despite going one man down early in the game, they defeated Pachuca by 3 goals to 1. Adagula was on target. Jude Bellingham was on target. And I could tell you that Jude Bellingham of Borussia Dortmund scored his first goal for that Borussia Dortmund in their victory against the Mamelodi Sundowns, 4 goals to 3. And then we'll still discuss about the African sides, how they are faring at this year's edition of the FIFA Club World Cup. So Fluminense also defeated Ulsan by 4 goals to 2. But yesterday, Yildiz was the hero as he scored 2 goals for himself as Juventus defeated Wydad Casablanca by 4 goals to 1. The action continues. Match day 3, well, definitely kicks off later today, where of course the games in each group will go down simultaneously. Well, we talk about in Group A, we would have Seattle Sounders, Group B rather, we would have Seattle Sounders play against Paris Saint-Germain, Atletico de Madrid play against Botafogo, and in the early hours of tomorrow, the games in Group A, Inter Miami against Palmeiras, Porto against Al Ahly. So that is what we are set to have in the FIFA Club World Cup. But you know, we have our partners, the BBC, standing by to definitely give us updates from the teams surrounding that the FIFA Club World Cup. Remember that we have 2 English sides, Chelsea Football Club alongside Manchester City, in this edition of the expanded FIFA Club World Cup. Amongst the other updates that we tend to hear or listen to on the BBC front. Well, definitely we'll come back and definitely talk about basketball stories, which involves the Oklahoma City Thunders. Well, you could tell that they were victorious in the early hours of today, Game 7. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But for Pascal Siakam, it was not the best of a result for Insider, talking about the Indiana Pacers. But we join our partners now, the BBC. But forget not, you are listening to the voice of Oluwatimilei SAMIES, the program of this lovely Monday morning. But let's join our partners, the BBC, to take a listen to what they have for us. And when we come back, it's time to talk about some of the sporting stories.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm John Wilkinson at the BBC Sports Centre. At the Club World Cup, Manchester City face Al Ain at 2 a.m. and could book their place in the last 16. Ahead of which, though, Pep Guardiola says even winning the competition and earning up to £97 million wouldn't make up for last season's disappointments. City failed to win a major trophy for the first time in 8 years. Guardiola says while the Club World Cup wouldn't count as a major trophy in his eyes, it's one they're very much there to win.
I had the feeling that it's a privilege to be here. For the people say, why it's so annoying, why you should be here. Once we're here, it's a privilege because in 4 years' time, it's not going to happen again. And to be in 4 years' time to happen again, you have to win big prizes. I don't know it's going to happen.
The weather conditions in the United States continue to cause issues, though. The Borussia Dortmund manager Niko Kovac says he was sweating like he had come out of a sauna after his side beat Mamelodi Sundowns in 32-degree heat in Cincinnati. Dortmund's substitutes had kept out of the heat by watching the first half from the dressing room, then sheltered under umbrellas for the second. 4 games at the Club World Cup have now been delayed because of thunderstorms. Campaign group Fossil Free Football say 10 matches are due to be played in the next week, with either a major or extreme heat risk as temperatures could reach 41 degrees. Here's the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino.
Well, I think the players who play, they are loving it. Harry Kane,
yesterday,
captain of the English team, yesterday night, he played in Miami with Bayern Munich against Boca Juniors. Exactly, fantastic match, great fans. And Harry Kane gave an interview saying it's a fantastic competition, it's beautiful. So they love it. Those who are not there, of course, they would love to be there.
Real Madrid, meanwhile, have a draw and a win after 2 games at the Club World Cup. They were down to 10 men but beat Pachuca with Jude Bellingham among their scorers in what was Trent Alexander-Arnold's second game for the club. In other football news, Everton are close to signing Fulham's Dutch right-back, Kenny Tete, on a free transfer. It's after Everton didn't offer a new contract to Ashley Young. Whilst Manchester United's Marcus Rashford says he'd like to play with Lamine Yamal at Barcelona. He's fitness training in Spain before club pre-season starts. Rashford's future at United is far from certain. The Barcelona sporting director Deco has previously said that the club like both Rashford and the Liverpool winger Luis Diaz. For more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
There you listen to the BBC Premier League update. But before we leave a football story on the show this lovely morning, well, let me tell you that it was also a greater weekend for that little football fans who support Real Oviedo there in Spanish football. Well, I could tell you that Real Oviedo, well, definitely they see their promotion back in the top flight of Spanish La Liga after that a dramatic comeback, a victory. Well, this can tell that this was led by 40-year-old Santi Cazorla, who returned to his boyhood club in the year 2023 when he converted a penalty late in the first half of Saturday's second leg with a side 2-0 down on aggregate against CD Mirandes. Well, definitely, it was a great one for them, and you could tell that the great weekend also it is for Real Oviedo. But talking about the other side of being great, it was not the best of that scene there in Algeria. We had 3 spectators that died and more than 70 others were injured after falling from the upper stand of the stadium, following MC Alger's second straight Algerian top flight title win. That according to the updates from the Algerian Ministry of Health. Well, the Ben Messieurs University Hospital received 38 injured people, while 3 deaths were recorded. Well, the Algerian Ministry of Health said in the statement, adding that Ben Akno Hospital also received 27 injured people, while Bab El Eid Hospital received 16. Well, like I said, it was not the best of outing there in Algeria. But we leave our football stories now and go straight to talk about basketball stories before we talk about tennis stories. While in the world of basketball, it was all the Oklahoma City Thunders. They took home the 2025 NBA Championship, the first in the franchise in 17 years. That's in the top flight with a 103 291 victory that over the Indiana Pacers in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Of course, capping off that an historically dominant year and a remarkable turnaround. It was a great one, and you could tell that the MVP in the final, and also the man who was named the MVP player of the season, Gilgeous-Alexander. Well, definitely, he put the finishing touches on one of the most impressive individual seasons in the NBA history by hoisting the Bill Russell's trophy awarded to the finals MVP almost 6 years after arriving in the Oklahoma City Thunder as part of the return in the blockbuster trade that signaled the Thunder's shift towards a rebuild. And you talk about that, you say that Gilgeous-Alexander, well, this man definitely is a great one. Well, we talk about basketball. So definitely, we take a listen to the words of Gilgeous-Alexander at this point. And of course, when we come back also, we'll take a listen to the words of that's Alex Caruso, the man who has been the only champion in the NBA, of course. And now they have another title. So you call him that he is a legend. When we talk about his gameplay with the Oklahoma City Thunders, the words of Gilgeous-Alexander.
It's a real short list of guys who've won MVP and Finals MVP in the same season. You add the scoring title in there, that list gets even shorter. Now that you guys have crossed the finish line, are you able to wrap your head around that historic company that you've joined?
Yeah, it's hard to believe that I'm part of that group. It's hard to even fathom that I'm that type of basketball player sometimes. As a kid, you dream, and every kid dreams, but you don't ever really know if it's going to come true. And I'm just glad and happy that my dreams have been able to come true, and that's a thank you to everyone that's been in my corner that's helped me get here. I wouldn't be able to done without them. They know exactly who they are. So yeah, it's a win for the family.
All right, today listen to the words of 𝐿 Alexander. But let's take a listen to the man, one of the men who definitely tasted the defeat in the finals of the NBA, Pascal Siakam. Well, let's take a listen to what he also has to say as regards to the game that went down, and also within the group of the Indiana Pacers. The words of Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, it's just thank you so much, to the fans. We like some of those games, man. Like I have flashbacks, just how amazing the crowd was, and we couldn't do it without them. And every time we were out there, and the game felt like it was getting away. We kept just battling because we wanted to make Indiana proud. We wanted to make our fans proud, and we tried our best, but at the end of the day, you win some, you lose some, and we just got to be strong and keep going. And I told everyone, like, I love every single one of these guys, and I wouldn't do it with anybody else. And I'm just I'm super proud, so proud of the team.
All right, today listening to the words of Pascal Siakam saying he is proud of the core of players within the Indiana Pacers. Well, quickly, still before we leave basketball, for NBA star, two-time NBA champion Kevin Durant, he will join the Houston Rockets in a blockbuster move from the Phoenix Suns. Well, you know the record of this man in the recent years with injuries. But we go now talk about tennis stories, where, of course, it is just the headlines from the world of tennis. Carlos Alcaraz. This man has been crowned the champion of Queens for the second time. He clinched the second Queens Club title as the world number 2, warmed up for the Wimbledon with a 7-5, 6-7, 6-2 victory over 𝐿. That was yesterday. And then talk about another woman, American McCartney Kessler. She secured a third career title, defeating that Diana Yastremka 6-4, 7-5 in a rain-interrupted Nottingham Open final. And then Marketa Vondrousova as well. You could tell that she needed 3 sets to subdue Chinese qualifier Wang Xinyu and win the Berlin Open title, completing an improbable run to her first trophy since her London triumph. That's 2 years ago.